Let's talk about the creation process to some degree or another. Remember that really all thought and all the ability we have to create originates in God. I'm not saying that by the time it reaches us, it's still steeped in God, but the very ability to think, the very ability to love, the very ability to create is a part of God. It comes from God. Our power to do that comes from God. But we just twist it and mess it up. So you might wake up one day and say, I'm ready to co-create with God. And you meditate or you tune in. Oh, that feels great. I just feel love. I feel presence of peace and joy. It feels really good and you connected well. But you get out of bed and you look in the mirror and you get distracted with aging. Or you go through the house and you trip over one of the kids' toys. Or you find the animals have made a mess, and gone to the bathroom in the living room. These things then start to take us off center. So by the time, an hour into the day, there's no more God creating through us anymore. We've now usurped God, so to speak, and we've shown up. When I say we, I mean our ego, reactive, fear-based self. So using the body as a metaphor, here, the upper three chakras represent the Trinity of God. And then God's presence is supposed to be able to flow through us, right into our heart. Wow, that's just like Adam and Eve saying, God walked into the garden and visited us. When you are in your heart, God can descend into the garden and walk with us. That's the way it should be. But we didn't just drop from being one with God into the Garden of Eden, into our hearts. We then also created 3 more chakras: intellectual mind, emotional self, the human physical self. So we've descended from the upper 3 chakras to the lower 3, the heart being in the middle, the chooser between which one we live. Our ultimate goal is that our hearts have to learn to surrender and say, even though I'm feeling my old patterns in my heart, issues in my heart, my wounds in my heart, you know what I'm going to do today? Surrender them from my heart to God. And they rise into the presence of God, and in the light of God, they dissipate. Whatever amount of darkness they were, they dissipate. It's all a metaphor I'm using, but I surrender this to God. Then God rewards us by saying, thank you for giving up your darkness. Let me give you my light. And its light shines into our heart. And we go, wow, that feels great. Just like I said in the morning, you had your meditation. That's a moment. But now the trick is, how do I get the presence of God from my heart, which I have for seconds or minutes? How do I get it to come all the way down into my mind, lower mind, intellect, emotions, and body? That's the key. See, all these people that talk about meditation and sublime and nirvana, a lot of them are thinking in terms of leaving their human self and going up into, metaphorically, up into a cave somewhere and hiding out. They go into their heart, they feel the presence of God, but they're not being as fully as effective as they could be. They're kind of like bliss bunnies. They're blissing out. Oh, isn't this great? I'm one with God. Well, that's nice, but look, there's a person who's blown a tire on the road. You want to get out and help him? No, I'm too busy being one with God. Well, you've absolutely failed the test, because even when you're one with God, God's going to still say, do something with it. I've said it many times, but all the 12-step programs, the Buddhism, the A Course in Miracles, all these complex, wonderful teachings, no matter 12 steps or hundreds of pages of the Course or all these sutras of Buddha, they can all be distilled to 3 things. Connect with God. Let that connection make a difference in you. And then let that change in you be brought to others. Because there's only 3 relationships you can have. They are with God, self, and others. So connect with God. Wonderful. Can that change you? No, I like just blissing out, contemplating God. That's worthless, really. Bring it into you. I mean, if it doesn't change you, it's just too abstract and philosophical, almost too intellectual in a way. So connect with God, yes, and thank you for doing that. But now, how is that changing you? It needs to make you more peaceful, more patient, more creative, more powerful, passionate. I don't believe it should only show up as pretty lights. It should really, into gusto, into the heart, like me, who I am, but then passionately, bring it to the world. I'm not talking about passion, meaning people that scream and complain and they say, I'm just passionate about something. No, they're actually just angry, and disguising it as being passionate. I know that there's exceptions to that, but generally speaking, don't just yell for yelling's sake. Don't just vent for venting's sake. There can be passion. When you're one with God, you don't always speak so softly nobody can hear you. It's like, it reminds me of Monty Python's Life of Brian, where they're doing this thing where the people are all gathering around to listen to the Beatitudes of Jesus, Sermon on the Mount. And there's Jesus. Imagine the sacred moment. In typical Bible stories or videos, movies, you have Jesus. Blessed are the meek. Usually he has a British accent, but blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And the people are humbly listening. Well, in Monty Python, you don't have that. You have blessed are the meek, and then it shows rows and rows of people, because the hill's a big hill, and there's lots of people, and they're panning the camera all the way down to the people way down there going, what did he say? In their British, annoying, kind of that agitated kind of sound, like, what did he say? So when he says something like, blessed are those who are humble, blessed are the meek, but they start, by the time it's like the old telephone game. What did he say? Well, I think he said something about blessed are the, and they twist all the words and nobody's getting it right. So pretty soon it's like, I think he said something about blessed are the bakers. And they're like, oh, well, they deserve a bit of a blessing because they make bread for us, and they're not even getting what he's saying. And that's what we do. The message, the presence of God just is. And it's not out there. It's in our own upper three chakras if we could be still enough and know how to connect with it. And it's just beautiful, perfect. Now we connect. And then, can we bring that presence into our own hearts and let it make a difference in us so we become more peaceful, but we become more loving? That's the point, man. And then third, can you bring it to others, just like the 12-step program? There's a certain surrender to God. There's a certain let this affect your life. And there's a certain at the end of the program, take it to the world, take it to others. That's really, really technically what Buddhism has been trying to say. And it's what A Course in Miracles says. Hundreds and hundreds of pages, but it's still saying the same thing. The Course, to a degree, it ends with, be loving, be good, be a nice person. Don't just think it, don't just make this abstract. Let this make you a better person and bring that to the world. Are you going to slip? Yes. Because if you get into this, I need to perfectly be spiritual, it's not even real. And you'll judge yourself when you slip. Remember to go easy on yourself. God, self, others. God, self, others. Inspiration, focus, and go. True connection while you're on earth. True connection with God. Even angels don't just sit sublime in heaven. They still come to help people, don't they? So come on. Connect. Feel that presence changing you as a person, and then move forward with it. Take it to the world. If your spirituality, I don't care what you're into, sound healing, breath work, sublime meditations, Buddhism, Catholicism, doesn't matter. Ask yourself, are you closer to God every day, or at least every month, every year? Can you see a measurable movement in your ability to connect with bliss of God, the consciousness of God? Not your intellectual ideals of God, but with the consciousness of God, the emotion, the feeling of God. Yes or no? And secondly, is this making me a better person more and more all the time? If you can say, well, I feel somewhat the same, a little shift, then you're only getting a little value. So something's wrong. Either your technique isn't very good because you're only getting a little value, or your technique might be great and you're the problem. You're not letting it soak in enough. You're too resistant. You're too intellectual. And so you're sabotaging it. But be honest about it, man. God, do I feel God more and more? Yes. Do I feel better as a person? Am I becoming a better person? I would probably not even want to be alive if I were the same person all the time. I mean, one of the things I really love is I just feel like I grow. I can hear a song on the radio, and I feel like, wow, sometimes from it. And I don't always tell people this, but just like I looked at a flower on that phone and thought color, and then I started going into this, any little thing can expand my mind. The way some people do a drug because they think it expands their mind. Just intention ends up, for me, expanding my mind. And that's what I think we can all and should all do. Connect with God. It should be growing all the time. Myself, I should be growing. I don't mean just intellectually, like knowledge, more and more knowledge. I mean growing in terms of my love for myself, my patience with myself, my understanding of myself, growing and growing. And third, am I more and more bringing it to the world as an artist, as a musician? And I don't mean the doing. I'm writing more songs, but are the songs deeper? Am I connecting with people? Are more and more of my students, my people attending my concerts or gatherings or whatever I do, I'm just using examples of what we do, even parenting. Are you feeling closer to your parents, to your children as a parent? Are you connecting more? Are they feeling a difference? Are they looking happier, and are they a little less tense around you? Like maybe you used to yell and they used to tense, and now, Mommy, I really like the way we've been lately. I mean, that just brings tears to my eyes, man, to think that children sometimes have the courage to be able to say that to us, that I'm feeling safer. I really like our house more. They'll word it the way a child would, but it's pretty cool. When you realize your prosperity is increasing, and I'm not blaming you or shaming you if your prosperity isn't increasing, I'm saying look at it. For me, I look at these things and I say, it needs to be expansive, not obsessively about it, but expansive. So I close with this. The presence of God is the light of God, the presence of God. And light pours into our hearts. Then it pours into the mind, and then the lower mind, symbolic here, and then down into the emotional centers and into the physical centers. So that which is, in a sense, the bliss of God, the light of God, starts to descend into our being. And it becomes this beautiful light in our heart. But it becomes a vibration when it reaches our heart. It's no longer pure light, God. It enters the third dimension in our heart, and it becomes vibration. Then it descends into the mental chakra. It becomes sound. When it enters the next chakra, emotional, it becomes color. And when it drops to the next chakra, it becomes form. That means that nothing can become form that didn't somehow originate higher up. Form doesn't just happen. Things don't just do something to themselves. Like if my soul leaves my body doesn't go, okay, now we'll do some other things because we're wanting to go get something to eat. Your body doesn't get up and walk around of its own accord. Without the higher in it, it's not animated anymore. So remember that it sort of digresses or descends and becomes form. That which is form. That means there is not a freckle on your form that wasn't first a color, emotion, that wasn't first a sound in the mind, that wasn't first a vibration in your soul. You'll hear people talk about vibrations, vibrational compatibility, thoughts create, different vibrations from here and there. Yes and no, that's partly true and partly not. But remember, they think everything's about vibration. They're only still up to this level. What about the pure love of God? The light of God, the bliss of God. So that's where I sort of differ from some teachers. Because some teachers can still only talk about astral stuff, which is the navel center. Some can still only talk about intellectual stuff, which is still only the mental, lower mind chakra. And some even can talk about vibration and heart stuff. That's actually still a limited center. We must not do things without God. Reconsidering, let's bring God back into the picture. Even some of us teachers and students of spirituality, we love blissing out heart chakra. Listen to how many teachers. Heart chakra. Oh, that opened my heart chakra. Expands my heart chakra. I love it. But isn't there another one above that? I think so. The other one above that is the three that act as one. The Trinity of God are one. So let's get back to a humility, not just a humility that opens our heart, that's like having our heart open. Let's go back to the humility of even the heart bowing, not just the body bowing to the heart and soul bowing to the presence of God. You may like this, you may not, you may agree, you may not, but I swear to you it's the truth. God first. And we bow the human self to the soul, and that we bow then the soul to the spirit. And we don't bow to something else per se. It's actually God, and we're part of that. So it's not what fundamentalists would make us think to be separate. We're bowing to something up in the sky. But at first it has to look that way so that we don't think we're bowing to ourselves, because that would just be more ego. So consider that. Love, light of God becomes vibration. Vibrations become sound. Sound becomes color. Color becomes form. And everything moves in that direction. If I dream of colors that are yucky, they're telling me about deeper things within myself. You know, when I love colors, they're reflecting positive things about myself. When I feel gloomy emotionally, notice how we associate a gloomy day with a cloudy, dark gray day. See, it's a color symbol. So the concept of color isn't just color. Colors that I see outside are actually a manifestation of my emotional chakra. Form on the outside is a manifestation of my root chakra. I said earlier, you know, these different levels. Sounds on the outside are a compatibility or a reflection of my lower mind chakra, the solar plexus. And vibrations, really high soul level things like vibrations, are a reflection of my heart. But all of that, as cool as it is to understand, you know, we still surrender to God, the love and light of God. Stop trying to fix yourself. Work on yourself, but of yourself you can do nothing. We do our work on ourselves, but never without saying, help, here I am, and calling upon a higher power to lead you into your recovery program, to lead you into your improving your relationships or whatever else it is. In any case, lots of love and appreciation to you. We'll see you again soon. Peace be with you.